Hello, everybody, and welcome to Realistic Realtors with the Superior Coaching School. I'm Nick, this is Bill, and this is lesson 14 in our success planning. And you know what makes us different, Bill? We put plans into action. So we want everybody to take action and listen to the steps we give you today, because today we're talking about a very important part of every realtor's business, which is budgeting.
Budget. And we always like to start off with a quote. So we have a quote from Dave Ramsey. He's a national coach. And when it comes to budget, he says, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
That's
Very important.
great.
Think about that concept, right? And Nick, as a realtor, we're self-employed, right? And when it comes to money and real estate in your business, what do we need to do, Nick?
Well, you got to spend it to make it.
You got to spend it to make it. You got to invest in yourselves. And so many people, Nick, forget that, you know. One of the things we have to remember, first of all, we have to define what our business expenses are going to be. And then once we do that, we can kind of set goals for what money we want to make, which defines what kind of lifestyle we're going to have. Okay, so by doing this, Nick, we have to determine what our budget is. And what's one of the most important things from day one? What do we have to do?
Well, we have to set aside and understand what our expenses are, and we then need to realize what our marketing budget's going to be. And I think this is really important. So we have here pulled up on the screen. I'm going to let everyone kind of take a look at this. You're going to see that you want to have a process where you understand and decide where your budget was spent maybe last year, and you want to identify the return. How effective was this marketing spend? And then you're going to use that to analyze it and basically create a budget for the next upcoming year, right? And it's all about revising. I mean, there's no set budget. Your budget last year is not going to be the same this year, right?
No, and our budget's going to look totally different, right? So let's look at, kind of an old school mentality and my budget and how it's been over the years. So you guys see the slide that you're looking at. So what should your annual budget be? So we have to break it down into different categories, right? So you'll see first annual budget. And I kept it easy here. I put $10,000. My budget is a lot more than that. But I went and pulled out a budget from years ago. So I looked at it, Nick, and I said, I'm going to spend money on flyers. I'm going to spend on local print ads. I'm going to spend on Facebook, some Google posts, some community sponsorship, advertising gifts, business cards. And then I broke it down how much I was going to spend on each. So let's take a look how that looks. So my annual budget, like I said, was $10,000. Well, that year I spent $2,000 on flyers. And it was pretty simple. It was basically a local community I lived in. I printed out the flyers and I delivered them myself. At night, I delivered those flyers. So it saved me money. Just went out there late at night, Nick, and boom, $2,000. Wasn't bad. It saved a lot of money. Then after that, it was local print ads. In that community, I spent about $1,200 on a small ad in the community magazine. Then after local print ads, I had Facebook ads. Didn't really know what I was doing. I spent $2,000.
Paid someone to do it, probably?
Paid someone to do it, but that was just a different, form of marketing I used in my budget. Same thing with Google ads. It was the same person. Then after that, we had community sponsorship. Back to the same community. I put, kind of all my eggs in that one basket in the community, and I sponsored a golf tournament and an Easter egg hunt, and that was about $1,800. Then after that, I had advertising gifts. What's that? And that was about $800. At these events, I came and got some gifts. Whoever won the longest drive, there was a gift. I think it was a round of golf. Then at the Easter egg hunt, I had another gift. I think it was like 2 Yeti glasses. It wasn't a lot. I just started out. I didn't have a lot of money to spend, but it was something. And then after that, obviously, business cards. So that's old school how my budget looked, covering about $10,000. So Nick, with your new school approach, what would your budget look like for the people that want to, include that new school approach?
Well, I think you need to spend money on going to events. So a lot of my budget initially was, I'm going to attend some events. And there's a lot of events that are free that you can go to, but there's some that you want to pay to get into. All right, and you want to attend as many networking events as possible. That was number one. Number two is we did spend a lot of money, and we spend a lot of money on social media ads on Facebook, okay? And I think Facebook is really key there. Now you can go and look at a website like Nextdoor, or you can run ads on LinkedIn for higher price point clientele, or you can run ads on Google as well. Whatever your strategy is, that can be incorporated. But you might want to look at putting into your budget another aspect of this, which could be marketing, which is your content, right? So you might be running ads, but you might say, I might want to hire somebody online, maybe on Fiverr or another website out there, where you could hire, graphic designer or maybe a part-time marketing assistant, and you might want to expand your business. For those who are doing pretty good business, you can look at your budget and say there's actually some pretty cost-effective options to add a really, really effective marketing assistant that can improve your business. Now, what that will do is they can take pictures that you take at events, turn that into awesome content. They can handle all your postings for you. They can start building your brand and your influence on social media. And so you might want to budget them into that as well. But then again, closing gifts, I think, are a big part of this as well. I think closing gifts, something maybe we didn't put on here, and maybe that was part of advertising gifts, right? But I think great closing gifts are something that can go a long way.
And make it branded.
Exactly, make it branded, and things of that nature. So I think that is really how our budget would look. But I think if you're looking at growing your business, for those of you out there, again, who do pretty good business, look at some options. A part-time marketing assistant might not cost as much as you think, and it can definitely help your business.
And what Nick suggested I did with my business, bringing some of his new school approach in, I hired someone to help me build my LinkedIn presence, something I never did before. And that's like 20% of my budget.
And
now.
what were the results of that?
It was really good. I'm building an organization, and I brought in 4 or 5 agents from that, just the LinkedIn, which I never would have had if I didn't have it.
And you went from basically having virtually no LinkedIn presence to how many connections do you have today?
I think 1,400.
Wow.
And that was in 4 months. So that, and how many do you have though?
Well, I have quite a few more, about 11,000.
11,000.
But the reason for that, again, is I've been marketing a lot longer on there. I've been sharing a lot of content. It's the consistency. You just hadn't posted anything, but to grow that much is quite impressive as well.
Yeah, so that's just where I took something from that new school approach and brought it into my business. And now Nick wants me to grow it in a different way, my present in my budget with Facebook. And, community ads, which I've never done before. So looking at my budget, guys, you're taking a look at it, I might take out maybe Google ads, okay? And I might take out some of the local print ads, and I might take more of that money and put it into LinkedIn and put it into Facebook and put it into the community website, get a little more exposure there.
And that goes back to what we mentioned earlier, which is talking about what works, right? So it's the crab nets example that, if you throw a couple of nets out and they're empty, well, this is where you're going to repurpose that money that you were spending and revise your budget.
And you can see it right here on our slide. It says, adjust budget and your expectations and your goals. So that's just massaging where the money's being spent, which is really important because it's a constant change in real estate. We're constantly changing where that money's going.
Yeah, I think it's so key because as you say, your budget 10 years ago is going to look nothing like it does now, right? And then you might look at, again, this gets back into goals. So I want everyone to go back and look at the goals that we wrote down and we put into, we printed, we put onto Trello. And let's take those goals and say, okay, if next year one of our goals is to grow a team, build our business, double our business, how much more do we need to spend on marketing? So what percentage of our budget should we be spending on our marketing?
Okay, so that's different, okay, for everyone. But if you're not spending 20% minimum, if you're going to go make $100,000 in gross commissions, you better be spending $20,000 of it, of your money back into your budget on your advertising. We said earlier, you have to spend money, right? You have to invest in yourself.
Spend it to make it.
And the more you spend, the more your business will grow. And, it's a domino effect, guys. If you go spend $20,000 in your business and you do $100,000 in sales, I promise you the next year, if you spend $25,000, you will do more the following year in sales. And people will notice that you're out there branding yourself and you're willing to put yourself out there and spend the money to grow your business. Then they realize that what? You're going to spend money advertising their house and getting their house sold. And
every dollar you put into your marketing, every dollar you put back into your business is another dollar you're going to get out of it because you're going to only grow it by that much more. And if you don't believe that, look at your own business and think, did I hit the goals I wanted to hit? And if you did not hit those goals, you might need to revise or go back and look at how much you spent on your marketing, because you're going to find that it's probably not as much as Bill's saying with the 20%.
And you got to spend it. When I first got in, Nick, I didn't have really the money I wanted to spend. I put it on my credit card. I put like 30 grand in my first year on credit cards, but you just had to do it.
Yeah.
And the first 6 months, Nick, I had one sale, and it was a friend. And I was like, what am I doing? And then the next 6 months, I sold almost $5 million worth, So all of a sudden, I created over $100,000 in income because I stuck to it. So basically, let's review a little bit, Nick. We have to create a budget. Once we create a budget, we implement that budget. And after we implement the budget, what do we have to do? We have to basically monitor how that's going. We can look where our business income, we have to track our success. So I want you to adjust after that. Take out the things that don't work, and don't just save the money. Maybe spend it in a different area. If you're doing really well on Facebook ads or whatever, well, spend a little more money there.
Yeah.
If you're doing really well in sponsorship and not doing so well in local print ads, take the money from local print ads and put it into sponsorship. So what we have to remember, Nick, is that we basically need to invest in ourselves to grow a successful business. And that's what so many realtors forget to do. They're afraid to spend the money. You must spend the money. So just go create that budget, analyze that budget, monitor that budget, and adjust it.
Yeah, so let's talk about our action steps, okay? So everybody should go back and look at their last 12 months. And if you had not recorded your budget, go back, find those receipts.
Yeah.
Go back through your credit card, your bank account. Look at all your business expenses. I want everybody out there to go and track, if you haven't already, what were your expenses in the last 12 months, all right? And then I want everybody to pull their goals. Number two, I want everyone to pull their goals that we recorded, we tracked. And I want that when we broke down how much commission, how much money we want to make, how many sales we want to have, and I want everybody to pull those numbers, and I want everyone to use our budget from the last year and realize, our goals, did we hit our goals by having a solid budget, or did we not maybe spend enough time thinking about the system, the budget, and what we're going to use? And we're going to use that step 3 to create a budget for this year using the steps we just gave you.
And Nick, good point. So many agents know what they want to do. They're like, okay, listen, hey, Nick, I'm spending $2,000 a month on Zillow, and that's it. Well, if that's all you have, don't put it all on Zillow.
That's not a plan.
And it's easy to do that, right? It's easy to just find a lead generation and put some money down on it and just sit back.
And Bill, that's not a plan. That's a prayer.
Yeah.
Right? That's just throwing it all into one basket.
Yeah.
You got to diversify your budget. I think that's so key. And again, I would not count out how important having a good marketing strategy is into your budget. You can generate leads.
They go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand, but you got to be putting the money back. So I think with that, we're going to send it to our special guest. All right, so we have an amazing special guest this week. They're going to share some awesome information on exactly how they structure their budget. Now, our guest actually has been generating a budget every year, probably one of the most analytical people we know.
Yeah.
And they're going to show you exactly what their budget looks like, every step they take, every receipt that they track. We're really excited. So
A type of personality. So get your notebook out and your pen and take some notes, because you're going to learn a lot when you see this video.
Yeah, very valuable information. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.